Trypophobia. Your brain is lying to you right now. If you just felt your skin crawl looking at clustered holes, lotus pods, honeycomb, you have trypophobia. And here's the weird part, it's not even in the official psychology manual. So why does almost every Gen Z kid have this exact same reaction to random holes? It's not evolution. It's not trauma. It's something way more recent. Back in 2005, a random online forum coined the term trypophobia and posted trigger images to test it. It went viral. Within a few years, millions of people who'd never thought twice about a beehive suddenly couldn't look at one. Researchers think it's linked to disease avoidance instincts. Clustered holes resemble skin infections and parasites. But the fear itself spread like a meme, not a phobia. You basically learned to be scared of this from the internet. So, did looking at that first image actually bother you? Or did you just expect it to? Comment below, because that answer says a lot about how this phobia actually works. Nyctophobia. You know that feeling right after you turn off the light when you sprint back to your bed like something's about to grab your ankle? That's not just a kid thing. That's a fear humans have carried for literally hundreds of thousands of years. Nyctophobia is the fear of the dark, and it's actually one of the most primal fears we have. Because for most of human history, the dark genuinely was dangerous. No streetlights, no phone flashlight, just you, and whatever was out there, in the actual dark. Your brain never got the memo that we're safe now, so it still runs the same old program. Heart rate up, senses on high alert, every shadow becomes a maybe. And that's exactly why almost every kid at some point becomes convinced something's under the bed. It's not really about monsters. It's about your brain filling in the blanks with the worst possible option. So next time you flinch at a dark hallway, just know you're not being irrational. You're running software that's older than civilization itself. Arachnophobia. There's a reason a tiny spider on the wall can send an entire room into chaos. Arachnophobia is one of the most common phobias on the planet. And it's not really about the spider itself, it's about what your brain assumes the spider might do. Even though the vast majority of spiders are completely harmless, your nervous system doesn't wait around to check. It reacts first and asks questions later. Some researchers think this fear is baked in, an ancient survival instinct passed down from ancestors who actually did need to avoid venomous bites to survive. Others think it's mostly learned, picked up from a parent's reaction, a movie, or one bad encounter that your brain decided to never forget. And once that fear takes hold, it doesn't need logic to keep going. Just the shape of 8 legs, moving slightly wrong, is enough to trigger it. Coulrophobia. A painted smile that never moves, wide eyes staring right at you, and somehow, every kid in your generation grew up terrified of the exact same thing, clowns. Coulrophobia is the fear of clowns, and it's actually a fairly recent phobia in the grand scheme of things. Clowns were meant to be funny, harmless, silly, even. So why did that flip so hard? A big part of it comes down to something called the uncanny valley. When something looks almost human but not quite right, your brain doesn't relax. It panics. The exaggerated face, the frozen expression, the unnatural movements, none of it matches how a real person is supposed to look or act. And then reality made it worse. In 2016, mysterious clown sightings started popping up all over the news. People in clown costumes lurking near schools, in forests, on empty streets. It wasn't a movie. It wasn't a story. It was real, and it spread panic across entire towns. So the fear that started as a strange design flaw in a costume got backed up by actual headlines, which honestly makes it a lot harder to convince yourself it's irrational. Thalassophobia. Open water looks calm on the surface, but the second you can't see the bottom, something in your brain shifts. Thalassophobia is the fear of deep or open water, and it's less about drowning and more about the unknown lurking underneath. Your brain is built to want information, to know what's around you, what could be a threat. Deep water takes all of that away. No visibility. No way to know what's a few feet below your legs. Just endless dark blue stretching down further than you can imagine. And your imagination doesn't stay quiet in that gap. It fills the emptiness with whatever scares you most, a shape, a shadow, something moving just out of sight. Scientists think this fear ties back to real survival instincts, ancient parts of the brain that once had every reason to fear what lived in deep water. But today, it doesn't take a shark or a real threat at all. Just the thought of not knowing is enough. So, would you swim in open water at night? Or is that exactly the kind of thing your brain refuses to let you do? Liminal spaces, an empty mall at night, a hallway with flickering lights and no doors, a pool area you swear you've seen in a dream. None of these places are haunted, nothing jumps out. And somehow that's exactly what makes them terrifying. This is the fear of liminal spaces, and it's a phobia that basically didn't exist before the internet. A liminal space is anywhere that's meant to be full, but isn't. A waiting room with no one waiting, a school hallway during summer break, an office at 3 in the morning. Your brain expects these places to have people, sound, movement. When all of that is missing, it doesn't read as peaceful, it reads as wrong. Somewhere around 2019, photos of these empty, in-between places started spreading online, under names like the Backrooms. And people everywhere realized they'd felt this exact unease before. They just never had a word for it. There's no monster in these images, no jump scare, just silence and a space that feels like it's waiting for something to happen. So, is it the emptiness that gets to you, or the feeling that you're not supposed to be there at all?